We're good to go? Okay, we'll get started now. Is that working all right? Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone.
And also I'll leave one with the judges.
Okay. Thank you for coming this afternoon to the Venture Dorm 2025 Pitch and Awards afternoon. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands in which we're meeting today and acknowledge elders past and present, and a special acknowledgement to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people we have in the room today. So my name's Carolyn Ramsey. I'm the Institute Manager for the Medical Device Research Institute here at Flinders University. I'm here today because this is the first time that we have done a Venture Dorm MDRI collaboration, so I was delighted to be asked to MC today. Just start with some housekeeping. So toilets are, there's two lots. There's one behind the lifts. There's some other toilets if you go out of the door, just to the right towards the back door. That door out there as well is also the fire exit. And in the case of emergency, it's out that door and then continuing straight that way to MAB Circuit, which is the street at the end. I'd like to formally extend a welcome to everyone here today. I'd like to welcome Professor Chris Bregner, the Pro-Vice-Chancellor of Curriculum Impact. I'd like to welcome the Venture Dorm participants and all of their guests, the Venture Dorm alumni here today, mentors, colleagues, industry partners, and a special welcome to the people who are watching us online at home. To get things rolling, I'd like to invite Verity Kingsmill, the Director of Entrepreneurial Growth and Development, for a welcome address.
Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you so much, Caroline. And I also would like to acknowledge the land in which we meet, being the land of the Kaurna people, and pay my respect to elders past, present, emerging, and any Indigenous people here with us today. I also extend that welcome and thanks to you as well. It is my pleasure to officially welcome you here this afternoon for those people in the room and for those people online. We love Venture Dorm. It's one of those programs that NVI delivers and have been delivering for over a decade, and has seen so many founders across the state actually come through and launch great ideas and new initiatives and venture on to great successes. And it's a great opportunity that we get to see new ideas and new initiatives and the way that people are thinking, which is actually what the whole of New Venture Institute is about, is creating opportunities for people to realise opportunity and test ideas. This year, the partnership with MDRI, I think, is a really special one. We're really excited in this collaboration. I'm really excited to see and hear about a number of the ideas that are going to be pitched tonight. But also, I think it's a new opportunity, a new collaboration to open up specialised, focused cohorts of Venture Dorm as well. We also have a whole range of participants that are participating for their first time that are students here at Flinders as well. So one of the pivots we've done with New Venture Institute is really broaden our reach to enable students who are either in undergraduate or postgraduate pathways to participate in Venture Dorm and really start to extend the opportunities for the next generation of founders and entrepreneurs as well. So you're going to be hearing from a mix of presenters tonight, presenting at various different levels and development of those ideas. I'm also loving, as I'm looking around the room, some people have got their products out on display. Sorry, Ben, I'm looking directly at you. But I really encourage you during the break, when the judges do deliberate, to go up and speak to all the people presenting today and ask them more about what it is and what problem they're solving and what it is about their solution that puts them ahead in the industry. We love creating spaces for people to push their way of thinking. I'm looking forward to seeing these founders continue to develop, and if it's this particular idea that launches and continues to grow, brilliant. But if it just opens the confidence to keep exploring and keep trialling, then that is a success as well. For all those that have been mentors, we thank you particularly, because without your generosity, walking alongside a number of our participants, it makes the journey for them a lot harder, and we know that you actually step out and actually volunteer your time to walk alongside our participants. We really thank you for that. For our judges as well, you're going to have a tough decision this afternoon as you deliberate the variety of different people who are going to be presenting tonight, but thank you so much for your time and contribution and expertise as you evaluate these pitches too. Well, I don't think you want to hear from me for much longer because I've rabbited on enough. On behalf of the university, it's fantastic to have you here. On behalf of the New Venture Institute, we are excited to be launching this new collaboration with MDRI, and we look forward to you enjoying this evening and celebrating with the participants who have put a lot of time and effort into the last 8 weeks. So, without further ado, I think I've spoken enough. I'm now going to pass back to Caroline and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Verity. So this is what we will be doing this afternoon. In about 7 minutes, we'll start with our pitch presentations. We'll be hearing from 10 people today. So after the presentations, we're going to head back outside for a break and networking, and that will give our judges time to work out who our winners are. 6:20 awards will be presented outside. There's a little stage outside in the foyer, and the event will finish up at about 6:45. I'd like to thank everyone that's been involved in the delivery of this Venture Dorm collaboration. There's many people working behind the scenes to make this happen. There are also other people from New Venture Institute and the Medical Device Research Institute who supported the program today and today's event, so thank you to them. So there are two cohorts here today. We've talked about the medical device, but we've also got some non-medical device people who are presenting today. So let's see if we can get a little bit closer to seeing those presentations. But first, we'd like to have a huge thank you out to all of our industry and government partners who shared their knowledge and insights as our guest speakers. We've had the Department of State Development, the Commission on Excellence and Innovation in Health, the Medical Device Partnering Program, Oz Industry, MTP Connect, MicroX, NanoFind, View Venture Partners, TAV Electric, Artesian, and Phillips Ormond Fitzpatrick. I'm sure you can agree with me that that is a wealth of knowledge that's been shared with our participants. And speaking of knowledge, also a huge thank you for all of our guest speakers and mentors who have worked with this cohort. So I'd now like to introduce the judges for the presentations. Amelie Froger-Slattery, Business Development from the Department of State Development. With experience across both industry and government, Amelie brings a unique blend of legal acumen, commercial insight and strategic leadership to Australia's innovation ecosystem. After spending a few years at medical school in France, she obtained a Master's in Law, equipping her with a strong foundation in regulatory frameworks, intellectual property, complex negotiations. I'm sure you'll agree these are critical tools for navigating the path from idea to impact. Amelie managed and scaled an AI startup in the mining and defence sectors, gaining first-hand experience in the realities of deep tech growth. now within the Innovation and Entrepreneurship team at South Australia's Department of State Development. She supports startups and scale-ups across the state, providing strategic guidance, grant funding access, and investment readiness and support. Thank you, Amelie. Next, we have a familiar face for around Tonsley, Kirsten Schultz, who is now Industry Growth Program Advisor, Department of Industry, Science and Resources. Kirsten has provided record in technology commercialisation, stakeholder engagement and partnering with industries and universities at a global level. Well practiced in research, global and startup businesses as well as government funding programs, she has deep expertise in the biotech, pharma and agtech sectors. With an entrepreneurial spirit, she has mentored multiple startups through Strandberg, incubators and government grant programs like Accelerating Commercialisation. Her experience includes working locally with the Medical Device Partnering Program, which is an initiative of the Medical Device Research Institute, and globally with Pfizer, Veta Pharma and senior roles in biotech. Kirsten holds a PhD in biophysics, an MBA from Melbourne Business School, and is a graduate of the Australian Institute of Company Directors. And finally, we have Stephanie Morris, Principal at Artesian Alternative Investments. With expertise across biotechnology, clinical research and pharmaceutical industries, Stephanie joined Artesian in 2023 as an investment manager based in Adelaide. Stephanie has deep experience in commercialisation, especially in the health sector. Prior to joining Artesian, she worked at MTP Connect as Director of Innovation and Translation and spent 5 years at the Imperial College London as Director of Industry Partnerships and Commercialisation. Stephanie has an MBA, a Bachelor of Business and a Bachelor of Laboratory Medicine from UniSA and is a graduate of the Australian Institute of Company Directors. So a huge thank you to all of our judges for coming along today. I hope no one's feeling daunted by the calibre of the judges there. It's pretty impressive. So, we're going to have some winners this evening. The first prize will be the Emerging Ideas Award. This is for our runner-up. They will receive $500 worth of NVI credits and 6 months hot desk access to NVI's incubator space upstairs here at Tonsley. The second award will be the People's Choice Award, where you, the audience, can vote for your favourite pitch. The People's Choice Award will get $1,000 of NVI credits, tickets to South Start 2026, kindly sponsored by the Department of State Development, as well as 6 months hot desk access to NVI's incubator space. And finally, the grand prize, the Bright Ideas Award. This will go to the overall winner as decided by our judging panel. They will receive $2,000 of NVI credits, tickets to South Start 2026, and 6 months of hot desk access to NVI's incubator space at Tonsley. Plus, the Medical Device Research Institute would also like to offer specific mentoring sessions for any of the winners of any of those categories who are working in the medical device space as well. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get started now. Jamil, you can come forward. So we'll call people up one by one. So we have Jamil Locker, JAI Workshops.
Yep, that's working cool. All right. Hi, my name's Jamil. I'm the founder of JAI Workshops. So, what's the problem? As we know, AI is everywhere. It's like impossible to escape it nowadays. Businesses are struggling to keep up with all the different things that are changing every single day sometimes. And there's a need for non-technical workshops to teach people how to use them, which is where I step in, the solution. I come from, is that right? Yes, solutions. Yes, sorry. I do non-technical AI workshops and consulting that are all face-to-face, so it makes it easier for people to understand. My target audiences are schools, libraries, universities, community centres, individuals, small and medium businesses, local government, and healthcare organisations. So, why am I qualified for this? I come from a public health background. I acknowledge that's a non-technical background, but I believe that's actually a bonus because it means I can explain AI in a non-technical way far better than someone who has come from a tech background. My background in public health and social impact also allows me to create workshops and consult in a more person-centered way, focusing directly with the people and what they want. So, my market opportunities. Through VentureDorm, I did a number of interviews, both face-to-face and surveys. And through that, I found that approximately 10 to 20 of those survey participants have said they would likely or would definitely be interested in being a part of this very shortly, within sort of next 6 months. Also, the middle part, the SAM, we've calculated from the amount of surveys that I did that there's approximately 500 people that I could work with within Adelaide, which is where I'm starting, at least for now. And the total addressable market's not really overly relevant for me yet, or possibly ever. So, cool. My competitive advantage, as mentioned before, I am non-technical. I really emphasize that in how I present my workshops. I integrate things like design thinking and co-design into my workshops as well, which is unique because it means I'm, unlike other workshops that are very kind of non-tailored, all my workshops are tailored to the individual groups I'm working with. I'm impact focused, coming from that public health and social impact background. And I have a proven track record. I already have clients. I have about 6 clients currently. And during the last, how I got into here was the Side Gig Challenge. One of the Marion Council hired me on the spot to do a series of workshops in October at the Marion Libraries for the not the staff, but for the workers there. The business model and impact, revenue stream wise, I will focus for now, especially heavily on face-to-face workshops. However, as I get more knowledgeable, I plan on expanding out to consulting, course design, and possibly research as well. Once again, all impact focused, with the goal of trying to democratize AI. Once again, my proven track record, and there's also a potential for significant growth within this industry as well. So, come join AI. I don't have an ask, unlike some people, but that QR code links to my LinkedIn. If anyone is interested in working with me to do some AI workshops or consulting, feel free to use that. In the next couple of weeks, I will be releasing my workshop as well. My website as well. So keep an eye out for that on my LinkedIn. Thank you. Oh, there's questions. Yes, sorry.
Okay. I'm just wondering, have you considered in the long term scalability and, you've got a customized approach. So is there a particular customer segment that you might develop a product for that you can scale?
I don't plan. I'd like to be more a sole trader, so I don't plan on expanding too heavily in that direction. However, I would like to work predominantly more for schools and libraries. I think there's a huge potential there. It just requires a bit more work to get into that. I think having my foot in the door with Marion, as well as my mentors and friends that I have throughout Flinders University, allows me to start here and have the possibility of expanding out to other universities and things like that.
Thanks, Jamil, for the presentation as well. Is that on?
Yeah,
thanks for the presentation, Jamil. A quick question following on from that. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that program looks like, how long it is, what's involved, how much it costs you to deliver, and in turn, what your revenue models might look like?
I can do a little bit of that.
Yep.
I haven't done an awful lot of that yet. It's still relatively early phase, and the workshops I've done have been small, but the little bit of work I've done with my mentor over there helps with that. So I have three separate workshop three separate workshop tiers. One being kind of like a basic kind of almost Q&A type thing. It's more to help people understand bits about AI and trying to demystify it. It's only an hour long. Currently, I'm pricing that at about $200. My middle one is, I believe, $400. I'd need to look it up physically to tell you the exact amount, but I believe it's $400. And that's kind of that will be linking. That's 4 hours long, and that's a mixture of things like, depending on the group I'm working with, as I mentioned, will be anything from AI evaluation through to how to prompt, through to the evaluation of tools or the output. And then my top tier is like a fully customized workshop for industry. So it could be vibe coding. So if someone has an idea that they want to create, I can use my knowledge from both this course, but also from my Bachelor's of Public Health and grad cert in Social Impact to help co-design ideas for them using vibe coding or other things, as well as more advanced, like similar type things with my workshops.
Great. Thank you.
Similar with my consulting.
Thank you so much for the presentation. Just one quick question, if we have time. In a world where there's more and more AI and people also proposing to help with AI, how do you propose to differentiate your workshops from potential competitors in the market?
Well, currently from the research I've done, there's very few people that do like co-design in their workshops. So actually, before they even do their workshop, they've met with the client to help create the workshop that they need, rather than having a one-size-fits-all. I'm the exact opposite in that case. I'm utilising those skills from public health and social impact to really co-design and create for-purpose workshops that are designed for the customer, rather than trying to fit around a workshop that isn't customised. And that through the fact of my own knowledge. So, for instance, if I'm working at a school, especially Flinders, I helped with a lot of the policies for AI at Flinders University during my bachelor's. So I have knowledge from that as well. So, yeah. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Max Zhuge from Paul Marie Pet.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to present my Pet, where love lives on. My name is Max. let's meet my favorite pet, Pao Pao, right now. So her name means bubble in Chinese. She's a 13-year-old Tibetan Terrier I adopted like 13 years ago. And she's been with my family for the whole 13 years. Right now, she's at the end of her life. And I moved here. I probably only going to see her like once or twice before she dies. So I got like really sad, even grave after even every time I think about that. So that she used to just do that, like waiting for me at the balcony and just watching me come home. So it's not just a problem for me, it's a massive problem in Australia right now. 2 in 3 households own pets, and 1 in 3 owners suffer from anxiety. One of my tester, Sarah, said, when Max passed, that's not my name, that's just her dog, I felt so alone, existing memory felt empty. So the problem right now is the agony of separation. So we get like grave sad after they die, or like we need to like separate from them. The fear of fading memories. Right now, the current solutions are like static photos earned with QR codes. They don't satisfy us, and the unmet need for connection, which we just cannot get enough from the photos. So our solution is like our innovative solutions. We're going to make dynamic memory videos from photos. And so we also have like, we call it like personalized chatbots, which it mimics the traits, personality of the pet, and they can chat to you. With the storytelling adventures, so they generate like unique videos and events every day, or like every time you log in. And finally, we're going to have create a living heaven, so the pets will get like present like in the real world, kind of real world with like VR, AR, like technologies. So this is an example like how I reacted with Pao Pao. So I asked her, how are you today, Pao Pao? So she said like, oof, oof. So what did you do today? So I chased a squirrel today. That was kind of fun. Then she just like sent me this, like which she's like chasing a squirrel. Yep, that's what we're after. So who we are, we're pet lovers, and we are tech like nerds. I am a professional like developer, and like all my co-founders were developers. So we make this in-house. The market opportunity right now is huge. So we're going to start with Australian market. So the total market is going to be, so we have like 29 million pets on the market right now. So the TAM is going to be 1.4 billion at the moment. And with our premium model, we're going to expect a 490 million for the subscription, not the TAM. And with the obtainable market, we're going to have the subscription model with a $98 million. And there are 50K plus pets die like every year, and 1.2 million owners are like traveling around the world, or like traveling just separate from their pets. And they, on average, the owners, they spend about like $3,000 a year on their pets, and the growth rate is expected to be like 11.1%. So why now? Right now, the technology like AI, like even like with like video chats, generative AIs, right gets to the point we can generate videos from photos, and we can build like 3D models from their photos, or like just descriptions. Why better? Like we don't have any direct competitors at the moment right now. All the memorial products are like static Earth, or like QR codes, or photo galleries, or like they are just general digital pets like Pingu. You can just have like a Pingu as your pet. We are promoting the business model with like a freemium model. You can have basic memory book, limited chats, and with our core model is a premium subscription, and which you can have HD videos, advanced personality, and like customized with like towards your pets, and that's like special designed. Then you have like the early access to the Heaven feature, which is a 3D model. And with the max tier, which you can have like one-time purchase for your customized pet, and with even you can have like one-on-one 3D printed model, or like you can have like your videos like hanging on the wall with like digital frame. So Palmer pets just not just about laws, it's about like eternal love. Let's remember our pets. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation. That was very pretty and cute. I do have a question about the market, and I'm interested to know how you have validated that there is market interest or demand for that type of product.
So our idea basically first that idea came from like the QR code you put on the earth. Lots of people are buying that just to have like a photo gallery and put on their earth. And we thought back was like, right now it's like 2012. Like we can make something better than this, and we evaluate the market based on that. It's like thousands of people are like buying that like every year for their pets.
Max, thank you. That's really interesting. And just following on for that, so you've obviously thought about revenues and costs and things like that. Can I ask, have you got a sense of your customer retention rate? How long do you suspect that people might want their sort of pet collage videos for? What's your cycle, I guess, is my real question.
Yeah, so we haven't actually calculated like the actual like time period they're going to use at the moment, but we are expecting for a 6 to 8 months. That's a average time like people get out from like their grave. Like when I talk to like some counselors, like they say like it's like about like 6 to 8 months. That's a like average time they get like out from like their grave. And we are expecting, because we are building like connections with the owner, so expecting them to at least like using that like probably like permanently, I guess.
I'm just wondering, have you thought about how you're going to drive adoption? Because with apps, it's really, there's so many. Your competitors in a way are really anything that people spend time on online in a way. So have you thought about how you're going to drive that adoption and cut through?
Sorry.
How you're going to drive adoption and cut through? Because there are so many apps, for sale. It's a tricky space sometimes to do that.
Yeah. So we just so we are aiming like at apps first, because we don't produce like any like physical at the moment. But later we are going to like produce like 3D printing like pets, or like have like the actual like physical like photo frame, like the Harry Potter style. Like you can have like the pets like videos like inside there, and you can just interact with that pet.
Okay, so now next we have the team from RU. We have Sakshan Mahajan and Sarthak Jain.
Thank you for saying my name rightly. It's quite odd that people say it in the first try. Hi everyone, my name is Saksham. This is Sarthak from Team RU, for those people who know me. For those who don't know me, I'm still Saksham and this is still Sarthak from Team RU, which is way cooler. You might be wondering why you're here today, and the most obvious answer is because it's Venture Dom's pitch night, but we also want to take you to a journey on what is RU. Imagine this, in every city, countless stories are waiting to be discovered, and we as a rideshare company want to make sure that we're connecting those cities, those stories, those journeys, one ride at a time. Yes. My motivation, if you have asked me 4 years ago why I started this, honestly, as someone flipping burgers in a Hungry Jack's and joining anything because my mentor was making more money than me, I would say I owe it to the community, to the people who have made me from this to this. Of course, extra muscles and all that stuff as well. Now, our vision involves around connecting people, supporting local growth, and driving towards the future, but that doesn't make a lot of sense until I tell you what the problems are. And rideshare, like every other thing in the world, has a lot of problems. There's inconsistent earning for the drivers, there's frequent cancellations for the riders, there's no safety and trust, and there's unfair driver treatment. But here's where we flip the model like a Hungry Jack's burger patty again, and we brought in RU Care, which is a feature designed specifically to tackle those challenges. We also incorporated learning and safety modules that are constantly adapting and changing, and we ensured we had better cancellation policies and more money in the pocket for both drivers and riders. Now, what started as a simple idea in 2022, while one night I was eating pizza with one of these guys, it blossomed into what Roo was in late 2023. And ever since that time, we've been slowly incorporating partnerships into our program with meaningful foundations like the Breakthrough Foundations, Stone and Chalk Adelaide, and this is where we are at right now. Talking about our services, there's a lot, isn't it? There's driver enablement, there's rider access, there's community feedback channels, there's custom ride solutions, there's subscription management, there's local partnership programs, but guys, this is just the framework. The end is nowhere near now.
Now, talking about the numbers, so more than 185 billion market is waiting globally for the rideshare business. In Australia, only $756 billion market is waiting till 2029. And there is annually 2% growth in the rideshare industry. And suppose, and I tell you, like 71% of the people in Australia, they are still reliable on their personal vehicles. So there is a huge market that is waiting for rideshare business. Let me talk you to a case study. So how we build ourselves. So we are the drivers. So we had a feedback from each and every driver. So we have a Facebook page of more than 3,500 drivers that are in Australia, and we listen to them. We had a full app according to their needs. So we have a full feedback from them, and we discuss what all problems they have into this rideshare. And now we have developed the app for them and by them. Let me take you to the business model. So in Australia, there are 2 or 3 companies that are making monopoly, and they are charging more than 25% of commission for every ride, and driver gets less amount of money. But when it comes to Roo, we are a subscription-based model, so no commission, nothing. So they just pay us a flat subscription fee, just like Netflix. So it's just like they pay us $1.15, and straight away they are happy to use our platform and make as much as money they want. On 18th of July, we finally launched our Roo driver app, which is a win-win. So yeah, thank you. And in next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to launch the Rider app, so you can also join us and be a part of Team Roo. Funding requirements. We are seeking for $500,000 for different categories, but you must be wondering why to invest in Roo. So Roo doesn't, it's just not like strong market opportunity, it's a first mover advantage. That's the Australian first rideshare company that is for Australia and by Australia. That's a scalable business model, but it doesn't stop here. It's a unique high growth investment business where you can invest and get ahead with us.
Now, clearly looking at the future, you guys can see there's a massive, massive market opportunity and a great differentiation strategy. But if I were to keep it simple and put it in simple words, I'd say, line from Suits, life is like this. I like this. And yeah, let's get in touch with us, guys. Thank you very much, and I open the floor to any questions now. Thank you. That took a while.
Thank you. Very, very cool presentation. I guess the first obvious question is, how do you plan on taking on the likes of an Uber? You've talked about the differences, your competitive advantages, but in the event that someone like an Uber would respond, how do you plan on capturing that market share and sort of going head to head?
It's quite simple, actually. When we first reached out to the drivers, which was on the Saturday and the Friday when we launched the app, people were really happy to support us because we are Australian, South Australian specifically, and they were really fed up with Uber. And I don't want to say words which they said because that's a bit not for public. But the main concern was that, I'll give you a simple example. If there's a ride for a rider that's $100, the driver ends up making about $72 off of it. But if this is the same ride for our platform, the ride is going to be cheaper because we're taking a no cut out of it. So if the ride costs about $85 for the rider, which is again cheaper immediately, the driver's still going to make $80 out of it. It's a win-win situation for both. So if you were in that scenario, would you choose to book $100 or $85? And I know some people who would choose the latter, even if it was a $2 difference. That's me.
Just following on your question, so as a platform, we have in last 4 days, we have more than 200 plus installation from the driver side, so which is a big win for us because our cutoff was like 30 drivers that we wanted to sign up in first 2 weeks, but we got 200 drivers in the last 4 days and still coming up more drivers. So we are looking at a bigger market, and now they are seeking that when are we launching the rider app so that they can start making money, because this app, they know from the starting, we started building it. They know what are problems they have, and they're gonna seek the solution in this. So this is the voice of every driver that is riding a ride share. So yeah.
Thank you very much. I do have a question about the number of users that you've got at the moment, and what channels do you use? So you mentioned being in touch with drivers already, etc. Do you have various channels that you use to reach out to them for both the drivers and the ones that are the riders, I guess? So how do you reach out, and how many users at the moment?
Like Sarthik said, within the last 4 days that we launched, we have about 200 plus. So we're, I think, about 242-ish drivers at the moment. Unless, of course, the figure's been updated. But in that regards, the way we reach out to the people is obviously by actually going and meeting them. We had organized some events to actually meet people in person. We also have Instagram channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, recently made a TikTok account as well. If you see those flyers that are on your desks right now, there's a scannable QR code that will take you to one of those channels. But the initial way we did it was using feedback forms that we sent out to people. And when they mentioned that there are this, and that problems, we were like, okay, this is how we can address it. And most people said that we use WhatsApp as a means of communication. This is where it started. The initial tool was brought to us using Facebook, which was 3,500 drivers. And now we have our own WhatsApp group with about 300-ish odd only drivers, by the way. So yeah, that's the way.
Adding into that, so this is the live picture of all the drivers that are currently logged into our platform. So from Seaford Moana to Gawler, so we have drivers all around Adelaide, and we are launching from South Australia and for South Australia. You must be thinking that they are charging very less money, and how they're going to make money. So for the South Australia, we are not thinking of making that like profits and stuff. When we will be moving to different states, we will be making profit there. So here we want to like work together and support local businesses. So our main source of incomes will be the advertising in-app for the local businesses, and the second will be the subscription. That is a flat price for every driver to pay us. So that's it.
I love your branding and the Roo name. I think it's really great for Australia. I'm wondering what your plans are then for global. And talking about global, I think there are lots of different models around, right? And my son's living in America right now, and he is using something that's like Uber, but it's free. So he's actually getting a free ride when he does his shopping. So I don't know how they make their money, but have you looked at some of these other models, and what are your plans?
When we started this, interestingly enough, people asked us, oh, how are you making money? Are you selling a data or a souls or a firstborns? I said no to all of them, which is, yes, how it should be. But our plans are not to go global at this stage, but through Australia right now. In this very instance, we have permits for South Australia and Victoria. We're choosing not to go into other states right now because we want to make sure that we do something for this community first. It's not just about making profits. It's also about, like I said, making this community more proud, because this is what made me from that to this. 4 or 5 years ago, I could not speak in a public setting, especially like right now. I could not make no jokes. I would stutter so bad and probably hide somewhere else. So the whole point here is that I want to do something for the community that made me me. And this is the whole point of us partnering with foundations like Breakthrough Foundation, etc., which does mental health awareness. We're also trying to get in partnership with the Zara Foundation, who supports domestic violence victims. And we can't really do a lot on this scale if we go global. So we want to make sure if we're here first, we want to do something for this community, then we go to different states and do something for them. That's, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. You've been a lovely audience.
Well done. Thanks very much. Well, hopefully you've got about 40 new riders in the room from today. So next up, I'd like to invite Linda, Debbie and Karen from Bot Assist.
Good evening. I know some of you are from organisations that have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, a lot of white papers. When last did your staff actually get a chance to read through all those white papers, take it all in, get the key learnings? Or what if I told you you could have an environment where you could still control your data, who's accessing it, and what they're accessing it for, but now AI can do the heavy lifting. AI can do the reading, AI can do the summarizing, and AI can present the right information to the right person at the right time in a secure environment. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Karen.
Thanks, Karen. So why are we here? My name is Linda, and I'm an IT specialist, enterprise digital transformation specialist, and I have a daughter in Melbourne, and she's a surgeon. And earlier this year, she came to me and said, Mom, this AI thing, what is it and how can I use it in my world? I immediately went into my project management enterprise architect mode and got some really talented people around me. Karen, who's a brilliant data analytics specialist in AI, and Debbie, who's a passionate software developer, and my daughter, obviously, is the doctor. Oh, hang on. Yep. And what we've done is we've looked at the problem. Now, Karen said was some of the problem, but the reality with AI is, in the medical space, regulatory space, legislative space, you can't use AI, and many of the government departments have legislated you can't. Why? Because AI is brilliant at making stuff up, right? So if it doesn't have the information, it'll make it up. And if it's got the information, it doesn't really say, well, this is a kooky idea and this is a peer-reviewed journal paper. It'll just come up and put the information in front of you, and you must now decide what is good and what's not. Now, for a high school project, that's perfect. But for surgery, not so much. So what did we decide to do? So what have we done is we've created a filter, a wrapper, something you put between you and AI. Now, it's a really complex technically, but in principle, it is simple. What you decide to let through, the guardrails you allow, that information will come through to your organisation. We've had a number of talented doctors test our product. They're very grumpy people and very busy people, so we were very privileged to have a bunch of them test our product to the point where they said yes, and Debbie did some lot heavy lifting. It's now 100% accurate 100% of the time. And from that perspective, we're looking at the bot that stands between us and you. Now, normally we'd hand over to our technical people here to give you some really deep technical insights. I'm going to hand over to Debbie, and she's not going to do that. Debbie.
Thank you. Thanks, Linda. So Bot Assist is a modular AI assistant framework that makes technically complex tools easy to implement. They're affordable and flexible. So the agents are tailored to user needs and can cross platforms and is designed to be software agnostic, so they're not tied to one particular system. Whether it's medical education, knowledge support, or resource management, the focus is on delivering smart, safe, and adaptable AI that works for the people that need it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Debs. Great technical input there. So really what your choices are the following. You can do it the way we have to do it today, which is go to Google, get past all the sponsored, go through all the kooky bits, and try and find the information yourself. Go behind the paid firewalls, get the information. Summarize it yourself, integrate it yourself. Now, especially in the medical fraternity, doctors, as I know, are very time poor. And their attention span is not very great at the moment. They're sleep deprived. So if you can use the benefits of AI, what we do is we give you the benefits of AI, where you can simply go in and ask your question. Tomorrow I have a complex thyroidectomy. What are the 6 things I need to remember? And it comes up and you can interrogate it and drop down and drop down and drop down. And you know it's not hallucinating. And you know when you talk to your clinician in the morning, they're going to go, yes, that's correct. That is right. That's the difference that we provide. And it's not just the medical. We started with medical, but in actual fact, the bot is so well developed, we can use it for any industry. So, Karen, take us home.
Yeah, so if you're tired of trying to ban ChatGPT and Googling and Copilot, now there is a way to safely deploy it. It's scalable, it's for small business, it's for large business, it's for enterprise. And it's more affordable than you think and can be developed to match your company in your industry. So yeah, if you're tired of banning AI, talk to us.
I'm just wondering, with the medical use, are there any regulations around this? Is there software as a medical device regulations or anything like that that come into play?
There isn't clear legislation that we could readily identify that controls it. No. But there's the duty of care that spans very broadly. And we do not position it as this is not your surgeon replacement. This is your study buddy educational tool. So if you just want to remember the top 10 things and you want to remember that it's the real top 10 things, that's the kind of questions you want to ask it. If you wanted to set exams for you, that's the kind of questions you want to ask it. It is not your surgeon replacement.
Yes, and it has disclaimers on there built in.
So the idea here is that currently doctors are Googling and they're using their own private ChatGPT, which is hallucinating. So this is a step better. Now, just real quickly, you can actually, in your guardrails, you can use this within an organization. You can take your paid firewall journal, medical journal, and you can allow this to put this between that and them. You can say what information you're allowing in. So you determine what information meets all the regulations, and you make that a guardrail. So we're not here to be a regulator, but we're able to tell or tailor and say, what guardrails do you want? Which is amazingly is much simpler than it sounds, more technically complex than it sounds. So we're not here to do that. We're simply here to say, if you say only peer-reviewed medical journals, well, that's the guardrail we'll use. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you for the presentation. Following on from Kirsten's question, you said it's been trialled at least, you've had some user feedback. Can you talk us through a little bit about where you're seeing the real strengths and the value? And on top of that, what sort of monetisation approaches you might be thinking?
Sure. So we started off thinking this was a tool for doctors. Well, because, my daughter was the doctor and we started off with the tool for the doctor. But very quickly we realised that organisations, SA Health, Vic Health, all sorts of organisations mandate tools they have to use. And so every one of the doctors came back to us and they said, fantastic. So we said, great, would you buy it? And they all said, no. And we were like, oh, what do you mean no? And they said, we don't have time to use the tools we have to use, and they aren't as good as yours, but we have to use them. What we would like you to do is get our organisations to mandate them, whether that be hospitals, health systems, private hospitals, whatever. Get our organisations to mandate it. So suddenly we pivoted from individual subscription to organisation subscription. We don't talk about the commercials because it's a straightforward subscription model that's scalable. We haven't worked out exactly the dollar values yet, but it's more around how many times people access it. That's where the cost lies for us. And whether we have a mini module which allows you a certain number of searches and then tailor it that way. But certainly it's now a small to medium-sized organisation, and any organisation, a university. I'm part of AICD or PMI, PMP, any of the ACSs type organisations that have white papers, decades of information that they hold dear and private. I'd like to be able to go and just ask a simple question, type in, project management question, because I'm a member. I'm entitled to have access to that data. Universities, we pay our fees so that we have access to the university data. But you need a PhD just to be able to access it. Whereas here you get a black screen with a little empty box and says, what do you want to know? And we'll tell you.
Can I just add something to it as well? Sorry, we can talk about it a lot. But something that we also found with the testing, it wasn't just doctors. Linda had an acupuncturist friend who we reached out, and she actually went through and did all the testing with the bot, with the agent, and she absolutely loved it, which was, to me as the developer, it kind of felt surprising because I hadn't tailored it completely for her. But even in that point, she got so much use out of it, which kind of started to make us think that we have created a framework that we can actually use for other areas. And it's not even really not just medical. It could be education, students, it could be vets. There is a lot that we can actually go through. It just started to make us, like our brains just go, we could use this in so many places and do so much good. And so that's where it's kind of rolling with the potential that we've got with it.
No, we've done enough on that one.
I do have to add this. The state government has issued an AI policy that says you can use AI, but we want you to keep a record of what you asked the bot and what the bot's response was. Ain't nobody got the time for that.
Thank you. Just last quick question. What do you think are the barriers to entry for competitors that would try to operate in the same space?
Well, I guess the biggest risk is that with it being AI, anything and everything is coming out almost weekly. And I think it's that there's certain parts that we were trying to look at that kept us different. Having the subscription model, certain things like feedback loops, scraping, getting their information. So not just the agents, but using other mechanisms, whether it's things like Slack or a different area where people can put comments about their feedback to the agents. And then through that, they can then improve the system. So it's a constant thing. And this is something that we want to evolve so that people, when they're using it, they're not just thinking this agent is okay. They're thinking this agent is great. It's brilliant. It feels like it's personal to them. And so that's what's going to set it apart. And that's something that we're very passionate about. Ethics, bias, security. It's a constant thing. Like I've used, even in the development, Gartner as a role model for me. So I would even pick out Gartner reports and I would even feed that into my agent and say, how do I compare to Gartner? Because I had high standards of myself. If you're producing something for surgeons, you need it to be the best. You can't have anything that's just going to possibly hurt someone. So I think that was it.
To take it up a level out of the technical bit bucket, thanks, Debs. The reality is we've got 100 years experience, much more than that between us, and our greater team, we've got several hundred years experience. So the reality is we're taking this from a business enterprise technical perspective, which is different to where a lot of other companies are taking it from.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So our next presenters, we have Max, Chi and Cece. Yes. From Ray's team.
Hello everyone, my name is Kui. My other teammate is Cici and Max. We are all biomedical engineering in our final years, and our team name is RISE. So let's get started. Before actually going deeper, I just want to ask everyone, have you ever seen someone flash into someone's eyes using a small flashlight? Let me guess, you've probably seen it in movies, or probably in real life, like that one uncle who swear that he watched the whole 4 season of entire Grey Anatomy, like Dr. Siri, and he know how to do first aid. Well, turns out that trick isn't just for show. It actually called as pupillary light reflect test. And what I mean by that is when you flash into someone's eyes, the pupil should automatically shrink. Otherwise, it is not a good sign. It is actually not a good sign. It could mean that your brain is potentially injured or leading to the neurological damaging. In fact, between 2021 and 2022, these are the numbers showing the cases happen in Australia due to concussion alone. By calculation, which at least every single day there's at least 30 hospital admission, 48 emergency visit happen every day, again, in Australia, and this only account the concussion case. The figure don't include like undiagnosed or unassessed. Normally, to check the pupil eyes or patient pupil react, doctor and nurse, they will use flashlight or pen light to check, but this mostly replaced by phone torch, which is understandable because everyone nowadays have their own phone, probably even your child too, they have their own iPad and stuff. But at first you probably think it is fine. Well, it is not. These lights are quite unreliable. They're quite inconsistent over time, and the result depend heavily on the person who doing the test, which again, introducing to human error, misjudgment, and less accuracy. Especially in hospital where every second is really matter, and the longer for someone or a patient to get an accurate measurement, the greater risk of missing something such as brain bleeding or stroke. And again, propose a CT scan. That's where our solution come in. We developing a device, pupillarity responsive device, which smart and standardized. It doesn't even just, it not only just shine the fly, we also accurately measuring the pupil diameter, accurate. It provide good reading, so eliminating the bias from the doctor. We using a focus light technology to make sure that the light will always consistent over time. On top of that, we also want to make sure that we will consider reliable, affordable, and yes, reliable, especially in hospital, again, high pressure environment. We're looking at some other existing solutions, such as this one here, and they're quite expensive. Their cost around $3,500. Again, with this price, I don't think every hospital or anyone willing to pay to equip every staff to have one of these tools. They're kind of bulky, and plus, they require a lot of special training for people to actually know how to use them and plug into the system. Study have shown that device like us can actually helpful. It actually save nurse at least 20 minutes per patient per day, especially when checkup like often required. This kind of time saving is really helping, as you can see, is come to more workflow, greater efficiency, and less fatigue for nurse and doctor, and then overall reduce in health costs. Potential not only at the hospital, there's also more than that. We also can look into other fields such as contact sport field, football, rugby, where hit and the head happen a lot, concussion. Especially in USA, there's a huge potential there, such as this sport. We're also looking at ambulance or traffic safety check, like police when they're checking their eyes to if they're not drunk or not. Realistically, the concussion market, according to a grand research, the concussion market value around 87 million in USD. Yep, and this number is expected to be more if you're looking to more global. In conclusion, we transforming a long-standing method into a more modern or intelligent tool, help to improve accuracy, save time, and most importantly, help health profession to provide better care. Thank you so much. If you have any question, please.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
I do have two very small questions.
Yep.
The first one is, have you had a look at the regulatory landscape if that was to be used as a diagnostics tool? And the second is, have you started to make something and to trial it?
Yeah, so it would be a diagnostic tool, and we would need to go through the TGA. Now, we don't have a prototype at the moment, but we do have the various components that we could combine to make the device. But we will also need to look at the different patents as well, because it's a light source and it's very easy to cross over with existing products. So we just want to double check that. And also we'll need to have an idea of what the manufacturing would look like for the TGA as well.
Thank you for the presentation. Certainly see the utility, certainly on the sports field side, also other sort of care centres too, nursing homes and falls and things like that. But my question follows on from Emily's a little bit more around the costs, and you had a couple of competitors. You've obviously done some market research, knowing what the landscape looks like. Have you got an idea of sort of price points you might need to come in at, and therefore working backwards manufacturing and what that does look like?
Yeah, of course. So just comparing to the pen light that they should be using instead of their phone torch, that one goes up to $5, but usually around $3. So if we can go around that mark or up to 10, because ours will provide them a lot more time. It would save them a lot more time, sorry. But really, we would just be manufacturing all of the components, and then we would have to build them in-house because of the regulation for a medical device. But each of those components, so the shell, the electronics, and the sensors, each of those components are cents. So really, one unit we could get into a couple of dollars. And then if we're selling it for 5 upwards to 10, then we could make around that same amount, so $5 per unit. And the aim is to sell a lot to each hospital, because the main benefit is that it's in the hands of every nurse in the hospital so that the data is consistent. And then hopefully spreading that across as many hospitals as we can.
I'm not 100% clear about how your prototype works, but I'm just wondering, in terms of like the intellectual property, then is it algorithms that you develop to diagnose certain things? Is it the method of how you're doing it? Like, can you describe that to me a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So when you shine the light over somebody's eyes, typically what you do now is you just look at it, and then you determine how big it was at the start and if it was slow or a fast response. What we can do is we can shine the light, and using our sensors, we can give you an exact number on top of the pen light. And it's that process of giving you that number without using a camera, which is what most of the current systems are using, and instead our sensor system and how it determines the distance and the response time to the light.
So we'll just wait. But next up we have Benjamin Jones from Tea on Tap, who looks like he's got some products.
Let's get started. Hello everyone, my name's Benjamin. Nice to meet you all. I might need the buzzer. Yeah, that's the right one. So, this is a 500 milliliter iced tea bottle. How long do you think it would take you to finish this? 5, maybe 10 minutes? And then, just like that, it's trash. And it'll stick around for 400 years after that. Not good, right? And this happens millions of times across Australia, all the time. And, like, let's admit it, plastic bottles, they're good for on the go. They're good if you want to bring it with you, take it around. But if you want it a lot, they're not really practical. Because by the end of the event, or whatever meeting, or your household, your bins are already filled with plastic bottles before the event's almost done. That's why Tea and Tap wants to think a little bit differently. Tea and Tap wants to explore the idea of using bag-in-boxes, something that has
significantly less plastic in it as a bulk option for non-carbonated drinks such as iced tea. Obviously, you can see here, it's pretty flat when you can deconstruct it, fit in your bin pretty easily, and a lot better than a plastic bottle. We wanted to start off with some of the favorite flavors. So we have lemon, and over there we have peach and mango and raspberry. But we want to go even further than that and look at things like jasmine and green tea, just to have a little bit of a healthier option as well. Now, compared to plastic bottles, tea and tap uses up to 70% less plastic and produces fewer CO2 emissions. It's a smarter system that's better for the environment without sacrificing flavor or fun. We understand that the bladder is our biggest pain point, and even with much less plastic being used, it's still difficult to recycle. But by drastically reducing overall packaging waste and using recyclable cardboard outer layers, we're already making a big dent in the plastic population. And we're actively exploring biodegradable and circular economies to be able to refill your bag and boxes and bring it right back home. Our business model is simple. We'd love to have tea and tap in stores, and we've even had some offers of bringing them to cafes here. But we wanted to start with direct sales to households and bulk supply to cafes and offices and other event venues. Each 4-litre box sells for $20 and can be adjusted based on the price. With product costs being under $10, this leaves us a pretty healthy margin. And as we scale, those costs drop even further from business to business volume. Over the past few months, I've turned Tea and Tap from idea to action, doing surveys, taste testing, and testing out a lot of different options. I learned that this is a viable product, and people do actually want to see this in stores. May not be for iced tea, but could be other things, such as coconut water, juices, or cordials. With your support, we'll fund our first production run, completing shelf life testing and launch to early customers. But that just is... okay. It's a modern take on the Aussie wine bag, but for the next generation. A better way to enjoy what we love without using or without trashing our planet. This is more than a product. This is a new way to sip in bulk. Thank you for listening.
Thanks for that presentation, and I love the concept of reducing waste, and so it's a really noble cause. I'm just wondering, this just reminded me of there's a classic McDonald's case study of around milkshakes and why milkshakes were made, and when we talk about products, we're always talking about what's the job that they're doing, and so. With the milkshake's job wasn't to quench someone's thirst. It was basically to keep them occupied in the morning on their drive to work, right? And so the job that your box is doing is different to the job that those bottles are doing.
Yes, but they have.
So have you just considered that or tested, like where and what, what does your target customer, I guess, look like, and what's the job that the box is doing for them?
Well, the job that the box is doing is that we do have large bottle formats, and myself, these don't really last that long, like maybe half a week or a bit into it. I don't know if that's my bad habit, but for something that's bulk that you want to have in your fridge and ready for everyone, maybe like you have a big household or a lot of family members, and it runs out really quickly, and it also fills up your bin space. So incorporating the wine box, I thought, why don't we do that for iced teas? We do that for water, we do it for other things, why not? And I believe that just being able to pour it out of your fridge or take it with you to an event, it's just a super easy way to make sure everyone's covered.
And thank you for that as well. And I guess along the lines of Kirsten's question, the thing that struck me is trying to work out exactly what your value proposition is. Are you a packaging company or are you a drinks company? I'm guessing probably leaning more towards the former, and therefore, how does that influence your go-to-market strategy? Are you looking to partner with the big Nestle's or the Coty's Cordial? I don't know, but those big players, or are you looking to sell directly to consumer with a product, and therefore you need to focus on what's coming out of the box as well? And then my second question I had as well is around if you're a packaging company, how does that lean towards intellectual property? How will you compete? Will it be on price point? Will it be on this green first sort of motto? How do you position that from an intellectual property perspective as well to stop sort of undercutting from those big players that you hope to serve?
Well, right now, I'm young. I'm not too experienced, and there's still so much more learning I have to do. And really, at the moment, it's just about testing it, seeing if people want it, and being able to sell it to people if they did. And my idea was that maybe selling it to customers in person is what this product would probably go down. But as I expand, I want to be able to explore every avenue. And I've already had people come into me asking different ways to utilize it, like having mixes or doing coffees or whole sorts of different things. So really, it's a starting point. And learning from this experience, I want to expand even further and maybe even try other drinks or maybe just be a packaging company. But yeah, that's my answer.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I'm curious to know what are the components in the box, because there is the carton, but there are other parts as well. And what's inside containing the liquid? Is it like...
well, I did have a bag on me, but I think I had left it at home. But I guess I could deconstruct it.
Yep.
It's got thin plastic lining within it, and it's like, as I said, it's not easy to recycle. You still got to put it in the bin. But there have been a lot of developments of like research into biodegradable stuff, and even with the cardboard packaging, I've been talking with people in the program about using stuff like hemp cardboard or hemp plastic for things. And there's still a lot more research and development I want to go into this. But at the moment, it's just mostly plastic, aluminium, and other linings within it to keep it nice and fresh and stay as nice as long as possible.
Thank you for that. And I can say, as a child growing up in the 80s, the other use for those bladders is as a toy or a flotation device. Not recommending that, but...
Or a pillow when you're drunk.
Yeah, yep. Okay, so next up we have Helen Slattery from XX. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Everyone's still awake? Here's some of the second prototypes. Have a look at them later. Firstly, hi, my name is Helen Slattery. I'm from the XX, the chromosome, nothing to do with Elon Musk. First of all, I would like to ask you all a question. Raise your hand if you know a woman. Raise your hand if you've spoken to a woman today. Raise your hand if you are a woman. 1 in 7 women have endometriosis. Today I'm bringing forward an idea. What if your period could save your life? Oh, sorry. So we all know that there is a gap in the female health data market. It's no gap, it's a canyon. Endometriosis on average takes 6 to 8 years to diagnose, even longer for rural women. I'm from Kangaroo Island, so I am a rural woman. The main biomarker, the first one that doctors diagnose, is volume, if you didn't know. So it's not a technical one, it is volume. And they're currently using pads and tampons. So I don't know if anyone here has seen an ad before, but they come in different sizes. The time is right now. The market is a $39 billion market according to Forbes, and meant to be a $103 billion market in the next 5 years. Women are ready to own their health data. The two competitors in the app space are L'Oreal, which has currently been recommended by doctors for women to use, and the other one is Flow, which sells their data. So both are big data companies, and none of them are using very ethical things. I'm introducing a two-phase platform, an app tracking volume and symptoms with a cup, which you have in front of you, and then a diagnostic system for menstrual affluence. So there are two other companies in the world that are currently using menstrual blood as a diagnostic. No one else in Australia is. This is the general gist of the first launch, phase 1. It's an app. You put in your millilitres and you're going to get some direct feedback back as well as colour. This is some prototypes. Volume is oftenly overlooked as the first biomarker. We've got 41 women in pre-sales, and our subscription model will be priced slightly higher than the other competitors. Rural women are asking for this. So I have been talking to a lot of women about their periods. I think there's probably, I haven't updated my data set, but there's about 90 at the moment who have said, 100% said, yes, this is something valuable and that we need. And about 76% roughly said, yes, we'll use it. And yes, I do have email list right there ready to go. And then one lady said, this could have changed my life 10 years ago, who suffered from endometriosis. Now we also want to explore menstrual blood as a vital sign. So it does have the biomarkers for cervical cancer, endometriosis, PCOS, but also if anyone knows anyone who's going through menopause, the hormonal biomarkers are already in there. The other companies that are currently doing this are using pads, not a menstrual cup. So your cycle could become your checkup. So very straight away, unofficially, SA Pathology is happy to collaborate. So that's where we're at. We're at Accepted Venture Dawn. The second prototype of the cup, which you have in front of you, which has got a milliliter measurement on the inside. Audience growth underway, so we've just been doing branding and organic social media strategy. Unofficial collaboration with SA Pathology, and 2 university partnerships in conversation at the moment. And I do have a manufacturing partner engaged in South Australia. Ethics preparation underway and grant applications in development. The MPV launch target is within the next 3 to 6 months. This changes everything. It's kind of big. It's cool and exciting. So thanks, guys. Join the evolution. So what I'm looking for is clinical allies, scientific advisors, grant partners, and value-aligned investors. So if you're one of them, there's a QR code, but come talk to me afterwards anyways. And there's the mailing list right there if you want to join as well. And there's some references, but that's not very pretty. So, yeah. All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for your presentation. And yes, there's a big gap in the availability or the amount of data available regarding endometriosis in science in general, and that's quite appalling. So you presented your prototype. I just would like a little bit of clarity as to how does it track volume? Is there a sensor that would be in the
No, there's no sensors in there. That's directly within the app.
So it's 2 different things. You use the cup.
Yep.
You can see how much you've...
Exactly how much you've got.
And then you enter it into
And you enter it, and then the app will tell you if you are in what zone you're in. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Could you tell us a little bit more about the app? What sort of features you might want to include or have included, how developed it is, just a little bit more about, as a user, what I'm paying for?
at the moment, have just built out the wireframe, the UI design, but what you're paying for is anonymous data shared. So if you're using the app, you get to see every other woman, so it's aggregate data model, but you get to see every other woman who's got a period the same as yours. So you can compare, have a conversation, and we can start to skip the bullshit and see what's normal. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess my question was similar to yours, but I'm just wondering, how variable is it then? Like, what's the chance that I might be looking at volume, and for me that's normal, or potentially misdiagnosing me, or?
Well, the idea is to speed up the diagnostic process. So I want to launch the app and the product, but then because the clinical trial process will continue longer, but what I'm looking at doing is you order the test from me of all my website. It goes to you. Then you take that straight to SA Pathology. SA Pathology analyse that, and then you go to your GP. So there's other companies that do at-home tests. Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I think leading with skip the bullshit as a marketing strategy is probably a great idea. You got the clicker? Oh, perfect. Okay, so next up we have Shayan Shabir with Strategic Pulse. Thank you.
No, testing. Yep, working. Hi, my name is Shayan Shabir. I'm the founder of Strategic Pulse. We are an advisory and consulting firm helping businesses run better, stay secure, and use data in smarter ways to grow. Before I start, let me take you to when I was a 10-year-old kid, curious and obsessed with how things work. Even my parents' shiny new pride and joy, a Mazda 323, wasn't safe. This picture was taken just before I dismantled its dashboard to crack open its secrets. Surprisingly, my parents, they didn't get upset. Instead, they saw a unique spark in me and steered my chaos towards enrolling me into computer courses. At 14, I was a proper tech nerd. Watching my parents' businesses, a small factory and a defense consulting firm, sink under rising cost and debt. Dinners became grim money talks. And what happened after is I was looking at all of this as a child, asking myself a question, how can I help? And then one day I suggested digitizing their financials. Well, that was a program which was a DOS-based program, Lotus 123. That's showing my age, really. But the thing is, it was too late. Debt won. Both businesses collapsed, and we fought for the next 2 years to recover. And I'm sharing this with you all because that struggle shaped me. And it lit a fire to master strategy and technology for the next 28 years. Working in senior technical and executive roles for the technical roles for the next 28 years, helping the lifeblood of our economy, our small to medium businesses. And that's how Strategic Pulse was born. Today, small to medium businesses face similar challenges. And according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, 10,000 of them failed last financial year, crushed by debt, cost, compliance, cash flow, severely and heavily impacting families and communities. And that's where Strategic Pulse comes in, with a solution to turn things around. our solution, which is a digital acceleration service, is designed to rejuvenate a business's existing investment into technology and their people, helping to stabilize, optimize, and grow. Utilizing our proven AI-enabled framework, our expert team of strategists, architects, engineers, business and financial analysts are dedicated to helping our clients financially succeed. So how do we do it? In Stabilize, we have three phases. In Stabilize phase, we look at tech finances, associated industry benchmarks, and identify quick wins. Next comes Optimize, where we align people, processes, and technology for high performance. And finally, to grow, we help our clients scale sustainably. So the big question is, why us? There are 1,000 more other companies like serving small to medium businesses. Our unique approach merges 4 core elements: business strategy, digitization, cyber resilience, and AI-ready data. For efficiency of execution, we are using multi-AI agentic platforms and workflow templates as well to boost efficiency. We currently have 2 clients, both making $10 million in revenue. We are helping them achieve 15%. They've already are on track to achieve 7%. For us, that's between $500,000 to $1.5 million, fueling their transformation. At the end, I like to say small to medium businesses are the lifeblood of our economy. And if you are a business owner, a small to medium business owner, I would love to know your story and explore opportunities on how we can stabilize, optimize, and grow. Thank you.
I'm just wondering, do you have any specific industry sectors that you're focused on? I don't know, you know, what your team is or their experience, and are there any sectors that you focus on and track record in those sectors?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are currently aiming for 3 sectors: healthcare, education, and manufacturing. We already, as I mentioned before, we already have 2 clients who are making 10 million plus in revenue. One is a Texas-based healthcare network. The other one is a disability care provider, a leading one. So we're focused on healthcare first, and then probably education. There are about, what we track for, about 90 odd health networks, large ones within Australia, which we are reaching out to.
At the, you said one of your target audiences is probably SMEs, where your bread and butter you think will come from.
Yeah.
What sort of things do you think you will find? And I ask, are you looking more at sort of operational efficiencies versus the actual SME product itself, or do you see there being some overlap, or what's your sense? How big a problem do you think you're solving?
Yeah, so I'll give you some statistics. So there are about 2.6 million small to medium businesses. Out of that, there are about 60 or 70,000 medium-sized businesses. So we are first looking at getting off the, we have already gotten to a certain extent off the ground, looking at medium-sized industries or medium-sized businesses, basically. So that's what we are looking at. The 99.2%, 99.8% are small to medium businesses. So the market we are looking at for mid-size is 150 businesses over the next 3 to 5 years. What that goes through is about $5 billion, basically, because at the moment, the whole small to medium businesses are pumping about $700 billion to the economy.
Thanks for the presentation and highlighting how you differentiate yourself from standard consultants. You mentioned you had a competitive advantage comparison on the last slide, I think.
Yes.
How would you present yourself to your potential customers? And that's what generally we call the so what, who cares? So, you present yourselves to the group today, but like to the customers, why would they go with you? What do you put forward to them so that they choose to go with you rather than with a competitor that might propose something a bit along the same lines?
Yeah. So if you look at the medium-sized businesses, the main issue for medium-sized businesses when they want to scale up is the gap between the strategy as is and execution, where the scaling priorities come in. So that's where we are quite well apart from other competition at the moment. The other competition looks at things in silos. What we are doing is we are combining all elements, as I mentioned before, those 4 core elements for us, and making sure we're using globally recognized industry frameworks. So our proprietary framework, which we work on, which is based on all the industry frameworks. So, say for example, you have cyber, we have NIST, we have a few other. But what we do with an organization is they have different problems. So we tailor the approach to them through our AI platform, basically. And coming back to that question in terms of the competition, so we established the company in September 2024. We didn't launch it till late March 2025, and the main reason was that we were doing market and competitor analysis. So it is not a passion project for us, really. It actually will bring value to any industry we take. So our unique value proposition for any client we go to is that we can take care of from a strategy level to execution. And if you are really looking at optimizing for scale up, then we work within your boundaries, which is your current investment in technology and people, rather than asking them to bring new people or as part of a restructure, lay off people, and then there comes technology. We look at how we can integrate the existing technology to give them the maximum bang for the buck. Hope that made sense. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So our next presentation will be via video. So Ella isn't live, so we won't be able to have any questions afterwards, but this is something that she's pre-recorded.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Ella, and while unfortunately I'm unable to be in the room with you all tonight, I'd like to invite you all to join me in reducing relapse in club feet. If you were like me and spent your teenage years in braces, I'm sure you remember that amazing feeling of having them taken off, only to be tasked with wearing your retainer every single night thereafter to ensure they didn't move back to their original position. Similarly, children born with club feet are required to wear a foot abduction brace as the maintenance component of their treatment. This is by far the longest and most important phase of the program, as it reinforces the correction of feet positioning achieved during the casting process. The brace, consisting of 2 boots and a bar, is worn every day, beginning at 23 hours a day and reducing to 12 hours overnight for up to 5 years. If done correctly, this method is proven to be 95% effective. However, approximately 30% of children experience a relapse, which can affect their mobility and long-term physical development. And unsurprisingly, this rate increases with poor adherence to bracing programs. Many factors may contribute to poor adherence, and we see an opportunity to address 2 key stresses that, if resolved, would meet the demand for an immediate improvement for users. These are rigid materials and ill-fitting boots, resulting in skin irritation, ulcerations and pressure sores, as well as clunky fasteners that lack durability and are tricky to fasten to achieve that perfect fit that we need, particularly when your toddler has mastered the crocodile roll. Our goal is to reimagine the existing brace to make the treatment process less stressful and more empowering. While our pipe dream would include a full redesign to address all stresses associated with the existing design, we would begin by exploring and experimenting with alternative fasteners that will offer ease of use and a precision fit. We're currently inspired by innovations that incorporate micro-adjustable lace and dial systems and magnets, which you may have seen used on other medical orthoses and even cycling, snowboard and hiking footwear. We're looking toward fabrics and materials that are gentle on sensitive skin and easy to clean, can handle the rough and tumble of a boisterous toddler, and most of all, offers comfort. We know that this period of maintenance can be stressful for parents and carers, and that they're searching for an iteration of the existing brace that offers the same gold standard of treatment, but with improved comfort and functionality. While we aspire to one day help the 500,000 children undergoing treatment for club feet globally each year, we would initially direct our focus locally to the 1,500 Australian children using a brace at any one time. Although all Australian states do offer a slightly different model of care, most families access their treatment for low or no cost through their chosen pathway, which may include the local hospital network, orthopaedic surgeon, physiotherapists and or podiatrists. Our solution could be distributed through these clinicians or purchased or hired directly by patients through us. As a parent of a child with club feet, I have experienced those moments of stress and anxiety of trying to perfect the fit of the boot on those tiny little feet and convince an uncomfortable or sick child to keep them on in the middle of the night despite their protesting. I know that I'm not the first or the only parent who has wondered surely there's a better way, but I'm determined to find out what that better way might be. Since the original boot and bar design was introduced over 50 years ago, it remains mostly unchanged, yet there have been huge developments in technology and the fabrics and materials available. We are keen to explore what we can do to optimise the existing brace to improve its functionality and comfort, and are keen to work with experts in these fields who can help us to do this. We'd love to hear from you if you're one of those people. Let's reduce club feet relapse together. Thank you so much for your time and have a wonderful night.
Okay, so the contact details are just up there if anyone would like to contact Ella. So next up we have our final presentation for the night, which is David Day with And Hemp. Thanks, David.
Yeah, hi, my name's David. Obviously, hemp is where we're at. That's our brand, And Hemp, which we had lucky enough to have a mentor at Flinders Venture Dorm, which helped us perfect that and create it. We're licensed to grow hemp in South Australia in McLaren Flat. We also licensed to process it as well. A little bit about hemp.
Imagine a future where the walls and roof around you, and even the air you breathe indoors, all begin their journey on a farm, not in a factory. Sounds wild, right? But this future is already taking root, quite literally, in fields across the world. Let's dive into the world of hemp. And no, not the kind that gets you high. Industrial hemp is quietly revolutionizing building, farming, and sustainability. Industrial hemp is a powerhouse. It grows incredibly fast. Some varieties reach 15 feet in just a few months. Hemp needs little pesticide or herbicide, making it a friend to both farmers and the environment. As it grows, it acts like a natural vacuum for carbon dioxide, pulling it from the air and locking it away. After harvest, those sturdy stalks become a remarkable building material called hempcrete. This isn't just a quirky alternative, it's a game changer for construction. Hempcrete is made by mixing the woody core of hemp, the shiv, with lime and water. The result? A lightweight, durable material that's lighter than traditional concrete. It's easy to handle, simple to shape, and can be used for walls, insulation, and more. Don't let its lightness fool you. Hempcrete is strong, naturally fire-resistant, and acts as an insulator, keeping your home warm in winter and cool in summer, while reducing energy bills. One of the most amazing things about hemp is how quickly it grows. While trees can take decades to mature, hemp is ready to harvest in just 90 to 120 days. That means we can produce building materials much faster without putting pressure on forests. Instead of waiting decades for trees to regrow, we can plant, grow, and harvest hemp several times a year. This rapid cycle means less deforestation, more carbon captured, and a more sustainable way to build. Hempcrete walls actually breathe. They let water vapor pass through, helping prevent mold and mildew. The air inside your home stays fresher and healthier. Builders and architects are taking notice. Hempcrete is easy to work with, adaptable to different climates, and much better for the environment than traditional materials. Using hemp in construction means fewer carbon emissions and less waste. Traditional building sites generate tons of trash, but hempcrete construction produces far less, and what's left is often biodegradable or recyclable. So next time you see a new building going up, imagine if it was made with hemp. Picture a structure that's strong, green, energy efficient, and built for the future. So the best part, this eco-friendly revolution is already underway. All over the globe, people are coming together to build a better, more sustainable future, one hempcrete block at a time. Will you be a part of it? If you're curious about how hemp is changing construction or want to learn more about green building, follow at...
So that's obviously a little bit about hemp. As you can see by the slide there from Henry Ford, why use up the forests, which was centuries in the making, when equivalent forests and mineral products can be made from hemp. We're mainly going to looking at construction and bioplastics. We're looking at doing a farmer model where it's a co-op, like with our grain industry was originally founded on Viterra as an example. We're looking at a mobile processing facility which we're currently under negotiation to purchase. Obviously it's a low carbon construction material. There's a growth of up to $587.8 billion by 2034. Obviously there's a shortage of housing in Australia, so there's obviously a huge opportunity for it. We currently have one farm on board where, like I said, we're under negotiation to purchase a machine which also has 350 tonne of hemp that's in storage that we can put to use straight away. The next milestone is to take on more farms, which I'm currently already negotiating with several farmers that are very interested because it's a summer crop, so it's a rotational crop and it's actually better for their soil and it's obviously carbon sequestration as well. The CO2 saved is considerable. The water that's saved is obviously 6% less water than cotton. And for every 200 tonnes of processed material, we'll create one new job. The bottleneck that is in the industry in South Australia in particular is there's no processing facilities. No use growing it if you can't do anything with it. So obviously the regional farm hubs I think is the key to it. We are negotiating several properties that we can use to actually set that up. On-farm processing with a mobile processor is good. It does create 4 different materials that you can sell. However, I don't believe that's sustainable on large scale. What we're looking at, which we're still in negotiation, is modern technology, 3D printing and creating polymers. Obviously we're in discussions with Flinders University as well at the moment to try and create a polymer that we can then patent as well. I'm the founder. My family, my wife of 37 years I say, but I was corrected today, it's 38 years. Both my children, they're both licensed security guards as well, and I'm lucky enough to work with them quite often. I work with my son at night in security. So obviously, I believe the revolution for construction industry using 3D printing technology has a huge scope because of the shortage of housing. Currently they've got 3D printers that can print houses out of concrete, and it takes 10 hours to build the base of the house. So what the ask is, we're after a seed round of $2 million within 3 to 5 months as a safe round. Then we're looking at a Series A raising of $25 million within 16 to 20 months to expand into getting more machinery to process the hemp and also having the money secured with real estate. Then a Series B round, again, is to secure more of the real estate that we would have under lease to actually own it. Then the exit strategy is either a reverse takeover, so we can actually take over a company that's already on the market rather than the expense and the time it takes for an initial public offering. But obviously, it has to be the right fit and the right company, which obviously I'm researching at the moment. And that's it.
Thanks so much for the presentation and the video as well. Have you looked at the market in Australia and if there are any other hemp masonry business in Australia? And if so, would you position yourself as a competitor or potentially a partner?
Definitely partnering. I'm currently in negotiation with a guy from New South Wales, been in the industry for 25 years. I'm using him as a sounding board, and I'm going to bring him over for advice because he's been in it for a long time. He's also introduced me to a guy from China, Zhirong Long, and he's also been in it there decades ahead of us. And I actually just checked an email before, and he's looking at sending me some of the stuff I need to create the polymer that I want and give me the connections that I want.
David, thank you for the presentation. You mentioned some of the sort of more green-centric savings with this methodology. In terms of cost, how not only does it compare to the traditional sort of concretes and the like, but other green materials, as you said, rightly said in one of your slides, there's other sort of natural capital that's used with the aim of replacing that traditional building material. Have you got a sense of how a hempcrete would compare to those sorts of natural capital-based building materials? That's question one. And then question two, you mentioned also in the video that others are doing something like this around the world. There are places that are doing it. Can you tell us some of the observations and where that's happening? Observations from those?
Yes, obviously it's actually all around the world. It's in the USA, Canada, obviously China's leaders as well. But nobody's doing what I want to do with actually creating a polymer to... I have a construction background. I worked in the construction industry for 10 years. I was a concreter for 5 years, shiprock fixer for 5 years. So I've seen the industry. As you can see, I don't know if anyone's bought a new house of late. They're shit, basically. There is houses out there that have been around for hundreds of years that have been built out of hemp, and they're still standing. Hemp is a fantastic product, and I believe if you can create the polymer with the use of the university to actually print like they're doing with concrete, but print with hemp, the hempcrete, also actually blow in at the same time the insulation as you're printing the walls, and also have what I'd like to develop is a trowel head on the 3D printer, so we actually get a trowel finished as well, so it would look like an actual plastered, so you don't need gyprock either.
And roughly how much cost savings do you reckon you would be using that approach versus traditional?
Well, like I said, you can actually print a house in 10 hours. To build one, it's you're talking a massive saving, but it's also speed to market. There's a housing shortage in Australia at the moment, so they need another 1.2 million houses, and they just cannot build them. They cannot get the tradesmen to build them, and obviously our cost of labour is higher in Australia. However, if we get robots and 3D printers to print them, then obviously it's a huge saving.
I'm just wondering about the polymer product. So are you saying you have to incorporate a polymer so that you can do the printing, or is that the...
That's correct. They've introduced me to UniSA as well, so we can actually... there's a guy there that has a 3D polymer making machine, and we have certain ingredients that we want to put together to actually print print the furniture and everything that goes inside the houses as well, and then actual concrete printer, type concrete printer to actually print the house itself out of proprietary stuff that we want to license.
And when you were talking about the blowing in, are you talking about insulation material then as well?
That's correct.
There's a company I know in Melbourne that is also looking, like their polymer company. I don't know whether that might be something to talk about later, whether that's a useful connection or not, but they're looking at...
Sure, obviously the money that I'm asking for to some people might seem a lot, but considering the size of the industry and considering that once you float on the share market, I'm looking a minimum 10x for the investors that have put their money up. And I'm actually going to Sydney on Monday to the Hilton Hotel, where they have over hundreds of actual VC founders, and hoping to... Obviously, it's not just about the money, it's about getting the expertise and the right people on side that have the same vision and have the experience of... I'm obviously by myself at the moment. The first seed round funding, I've met a couple of really clever people at the university that I want to bring on board. And
when you've worked with the university, am I allowed to give a little plug for IGP? Because I think that could be useful for you. Sorry. But once you've got sort of a novel product that you've developed with universities, you might want to look at the industry growth program, and there's an advisory service there that I work in, and that will help you with sort of your go-to-market strategy and funding potentially as well.
Yeah, obviously I was trying to do it on my own. The only reason I'm here now is, one, for education. Obviously it's awesome to be in a room full of smart people, because I'm not that bright. I left school at 14 years of age, so I don't have a formal education, but I have a real-world education. I believe the opportunities in the hemp is just scary. It's just, you've got to get it right, that's the thing. And I think by getting the co-op with the farmers, you're not actually buying the farms, and that's how all the grain industries were first built. So a co-op model to me seems like a win-win.
Thank you. So can we just have another round of applause for everyone? I'm feeling quite inspired by all of those presentations and trying to work out what my big idea might be. But so, time to vote, people. As we mentioned before, we have a People's Choice Award. So scan the QR code, go onto Slido and vote for your favourite presentation. No bribery. And then after you've voted, you can head outside for some networking and some drinks while our judges go away and make their decisions. And then after that, we'll come back out and we'll be back outside to do the awards. So thank you. I'll put that up.
Hello, hello. Ella and Oren, I think you were the ones with the link to watch it live. We are not going to do the awards in here. We're going to do the awards outside. So unfortunately, they're not going to be live streamed. But I guess you're going to have to hear from us later. Who are the winners? Thank you. We will finish from here. Bye.